show's called, the 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 show's called.
Welcome to Dying Laughing with your hosts, Tim and O.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Dying Laughing. I'm one of the hosts. I'm O.
I'm the other host. I am Tim.
And together we make up the
Beautiful, beautiful music
of the Dying Laughing podcast.
Oh, that too, yeah.
It's great to be here.
It's good to see you, O.
It's good to see you, my good friend.
Oh, shucks, it's good to be seen.
And we want to thank our listeners out there. I think we reached another milestone of over 2,500.
I saw that, 2,500.
2,500 downloads. So we want to thank everybody for listening.
We keep that up. We're going to be in 0.01% of the top OnlyFans creators out there.
I know that's right. We are just moving and trending up the ladder. At this rate, the podcast will be trending in 2036.
It's going to be awesome. And when it happens, man, it's going to pop.
It's going to pop, man.
As the kids say these days, it's going to be crisp.
It's gonna be
you're bussin'.
You are definitely, you keep using this stuff out of context.
I know, that's my jam, man. That's what I do.
Okay, I got you.
I try to be, what do we say? It's a post-cool and pre-retro. Right? That's where I live. I'm in the downswell of all the things, and I do it on purpose to embarrass my children.
Okay, well, it's very effective.
It's working. Oh yeah,
it's working.
They tell me all the time.
Keep up the good work.
I slang.
So anyway, yes. So we'd like to welcome you to the podcast, and as we like to say in the world of podcasty, no, that's not a word.
That's not a word.
I'm just making up stuff.
What is that?
We're gonna lead into our first segment, and the segment is how you feeling?
Damn it! I did it again.
For the love of Jesus.
All right, how you feeling? Ready? 1, 2, 3. How you feeling? Better.
None of that.
No. Oh, how are you feeling? You go first.
Okay, how I'm feeling. All right, we're gonna go there. Boy, this is a struggle. Excuse him, folks. It's his first time outside of the hut. So I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling really good. There's a lot of great things going on.
Yeah, there is.
Hopefully in October, I will be starting a support group in my local area for multiple myeloma.
Fantastic.
I'm super excited about that.
That's great.
And something like super huge happened on a personal note.
Yeah, it did.
My daughter, let me take my hat off real quick. You know, we got merch now.
We do.
Dying Laughing
Check
merch.
it.
We got hats.
We have hoodies.
Hats and hoodies.
Hats and hoodies.
And if you were wondering, I'm also sporting a XL.
Is that like a
clothing
spreadsheet?
Exclusive shirt here. Rise above the ordinary is their mantra or their motto. So yeah, good friend of mine. But anyway, as I was saying, a lot of good stuff. He got a clothing line release, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, my daughter got married, man.
That is awesome. She is such a cool girl, and I'm so happy for her.
Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, she is pretty cool, and I'm happy for her too. But yeah, man, it was awesome. We had a great time. Welcomed in a great son-in-law.
Welcome, son-in-law.
Yeah, welcome.
You break her heart, I will slash your tires. Just
All
getting
the
that
way.
out there. I'm going to slash
slash
two
the
of
tire.
them. Because
Yeah.
one is inconvenient, right? You can put a spare on. 2, you got to call a tow.
Right.
Right,
We got to
that's-
get a different kind of vehicle because he likes to drive really fast cars. So we're going to need something big to keep up.
I mean,
Unless
I got to slash a tire and get out because I'm pretty sure he could kill me 6 times before I realized I was dead.
But yeah, my daughter got married, so that was pretty awesome. Yeah, man, I'm coming up here close to 6 years since diagnosis up here in December. So, but that was one huge milestone that is off the books
Right.
of what to get done when I made that list when we were on the cancer ward.
Okay.
So that's a huge thing for me. Very
Marry
emotional.
off daughter. Check.
Checkmate.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what's been going on with me, and I can't complain. I'm still healthy-ish. Just like everybody else, we got our good days and bad days, but life is good.
That's right. You walked her down the aisle, man. Like that. That's
Man, what Yes, it was.
Like,
It was.
what a feeling. That's so exciting.
Man, I can't even explain it. It was just kind of like one of those out-of-body experiences.
Yeah.
But just the beauty of knowing where I came from and getting to this moment, just a testament of God's grace, and just appreciating. That's a huge thing, but to appreciate the magnitude of that, because that doesn't necessarily happen for
Right.
everybody.
Right.
Everybody isn't so blessed to have that opportunity that gets this disease or any kind of cancer or terminal illness. So, just on behalf of those that have experienced it, I know what kind of feeling it is, and I say we got to hold on to that. And for those that that weren't able to experience that, my heart and prayers go out to you. But know that you'll get that chance when you meet again. So what's been going on with you, man? What's happening to you?
It's been a fun couple of weeks. The biggest thing that happened to me, my son Sean is a freshman in high school this year. Just started freshman year in high school, and he got into photography real big, and he really loves it. The bug really bit him. It's something I've done for a long time that my dad did, and he was a wedding photographer for years. He takes pictures for different shows and stuff now. Like he's constantly got a camera in his hand. It's a good trick. He brings it to the family party so he can hide behind it and not talk, which is a wonderful trick that I learned, and I've since followed his model. But it's great. You're taking the pictures. Nobody bothers you. So Sean really got into taking pictures. He got this camera. He worked his butt off all summer, like mowing lawns and doing manual labor, and like really worked his butt off all summer to buy this camera. And he got it, and the batteries just weren't it wasn't working right. Like it would work okay, but the batteries wouldn't pop out. Like you open the door and push the button, and the battery's supposed to boing, spring out. And this thing, you had to pry it out. And
did you just add the sound effect?
Boing. So he thought maybe it's because it wasn't a name brand battery, it's an off brand battery. So get some Sony batteries and see if that did it. That didn't do it, and he was getting frustrated. And he eventually got to the point where he decided that I'm going to try and fix this, and I'm going to watch YouTube, and I'm going to figure it out. And I've always said that Sean has confidence unrelated to capability. From his earliest age. Like when he wanted to learn how to swim, he just jumped in and figured I'll figure this out. By the time I get there, I'll have it squared away. Or someone will catch me. Right. And most of the time people caught him. And he gets that from me, right? Like he learns how to do stuff by breaking things and taking them apart and hoping he can figure it out. So I walk into his room on Tuesday night, and he's got this camera, this beautiful digital camera, in 4 distinct pieces, and there's springs and screws, and and he's looking at me like, Dad,
he took it apart?
He took it apart, and he's like, Dad, I screwed up. I don't know how to fix this. I don't know what to do. And I felt so bad for him. Like, man, he works so hard.
Man, don't they always come to you after the fact? It's
right,
like
it's
dun,
too late
dun,
now,
dun.
man.
You know what I mean?
I've got a problem.
I screwed up.
Oh, man, I made a mess. But but it just so happened that I told my buddy Joel that he had bought this camera, and he's like, oh, you should have told me. I've got one. I would have sold it to you for cheap. I said, okay, well, that would have been good information to have a week ago, but I'll store that away. And then my oldest son, Nick, asked me for a couple $100 a few weeks ago, and I gave it to him thinking that money is gone. I'm never going to see this money again, and that's okay, right? My parents are giving me tons of money, and I don't mind passing it along to my kids. But sure enough, 2 days before, I get a Venmo alert that, hey, your money's back. Like, oh, well, how about that? That's great. So I see Sean's camera in pieces, and I remember this conversation with Joel, and I remember this Venmo alert, and a plan starts to hatch in my head that I'm going to be Sean's hero. I'm going to be in Sean's corner big time. This money was already spent. That money's gone. It's off the ledgers. It's out of here. And it just happened to be about as much.
Daddy extraordinaire.
Right? This happened to be about as much as Joel said he's summoned the camera for. So I call him. We work it out. And So great. I'll be there at like 2:00. I'm on the way.
Right.
So I hop on the motorcycle, right? Because it's a beautiful day. Tricia needed the car for driving the boys around. Lydia needed the car to go to work. So I hop on the bike and I'm hauling ass down 76 towards Philadelphia, and right across the river from the art center, or the Philadelphia Museum of Art, it just dies. The whole thing just completely shut down in the left lane. So I got to like duck footed across 3 lanes of traffic on the Pennsylvania Turnpike.
Oh, wow.
You know, off to the left, to the right-hand side.
On the motorcycle.
On the motorcycle, you know, and wait for almost 4 hours for AAA to finally tell me that they don't have anyone that can tow a truck or tow a motorcycle. Yeah. I was
wow.
furious. I was furious. And 2 phone calls later, I found someone that could tow a motorcycle. Like, it wasn't that hard, guys. And the guy I talked to was like, yeah, I was sitting around all day waiting for someone to call. So they didn't try very hard. But anyway, long story short is Joel came out because I was only about half an hour from his house and gives me the camera. So I get the camera. I take the bike to a repair shop. They tell me it's going to be like 2 weeks, which is fine. I get it. Like, I'll get in line. And I get there and he loves it. And he's talking to me about the bike and he had one. It's wonderful and all that. And it's just going to be like a week. Like, oh, that's fine, whatever. And I take the train home. I give Sean the camera and he like burst into tears. Like
oh, wow.
Dad of the year. Like
okay.
You look back and there's a couple of moments where like I was a good father. Like this is one of them. This is one of those moments. Not all heroes wear capes, right? Some sit on the side of the highway for 4 hours.
Yeah.
And then the motorcycle player called me the next day and said, hey, your bike is fixed. Right? So apparently, like when I got the bike,
apparently he wasn't as busy as he thought he was.
Well, I think he had a soft spot for the bike.
Okay.
But when I got it, I knew it had a lot of shoddy mechanical work done that I had fixed. But apparently it also had a lot of shoddy electrical work, and it just disintegrated in the heat. It just turned to dust, and that's why it wasn't working. So anyway.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, you know, that's first of all, I'm sure your son was like elated, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Definitely got some major cool points.
I did.
And you did a hell of a, that was a major deposit in the emotional bank between father and son. So
yeah, it was.
Yeah, so that's pretty dope.
Sorry, that was a long story. Like that was a long.
Yeah. I didn't know what version of long story short that you. I mean, I know we all got
story
different.
Long, man. It's too late for long story short.
I was about to say something like I know we all have different lengths of time that refer to long story short. I'm the one not to be talking, but the point is, it was an awesome feeling. We had 2 awesome father moments.
Yeah, man.
That's
really
what I guess
good
the point is.
Dad days this year.
Yeah, some good dad days.
Really good.
Which
yours is still cooler, by the way. Like daughter getting married is way cooler than kid gets camera. Just for the record. But I understand. Like I look forward to it someday. Not soon. Not anytime soon.
Yeah. It's coming though.
I hope to make it. You know, I hope to be.
Yeah, it's coming. There's nothing you can do about it. Well, that's a great way to lead into our segment because, you know, when that day does come, they will need to check your vital signs.
They will.
And as we go into our transition to our next segment, we call that segment Vital Signs. Why? Do I need to slow down? I feel
I'm
like
trying to follow your lead, man.
I don't really feel like you're. For some reason, let's just try it one more time.
Okay.
I know. Please excuse us, y'all. But I'm trying to work with his sense of time and how to slow down. I don't know if you're trying to read my lips.
This out.
Okay, here we go. The segment is called
Vital
Signs.
Vital signs.
Maybe it's the delay.
There must be a lag. That's
what it is.
Let's blame the technology.
Don't worry. Yeah, we're gonna blame the technology.
We're gonna blame
You do much
that.
better in person. But anyway, vital signs
can't do
is
much
where
worse.
where we try to check the pulse.
Yeah.
And the blood pressure on the world of cancer.
Yeah.
Or just good news from the wonderful world of microbiology.
Ooh, such a fun place.
Take it away, Tim.
So, you know, of course, we talked about extensively, I think. You know, I ride my bike a lot. I'm an avid cyclist. And one of the things that came up in one of the shows that I always watched, they're talking about the incidence. A new study shows that bike fitness can reduce the risk of 9 different types of cancers for men. I won't get into, you know, all the details, but the 9 are head and neck, There's a 19% less chance of getting head and neck cancer, 39% chance of esophageal cancer, 21% less likely to get stomach cancer, 12% less likely to get pancreatic cancer, 40% less likely to get liver cancer, 18% less likely to get colon cancer, 5% less likely to get rectum cancer, 20% less likely to get kidney cancer, and 42% less likely to get lung cancer. Slightly more likely to get skin cancer, but that's because we spend a lot of time outside. But in general, and also I think there's a higher risk of, or a higher incidence of prostate cancer, but that's because we tend to be more healthy and more proactive in general, so that stuff gets caught. But in general, eat less, move more is good for you, right? And there's just more and more studies that are showing that the healthier you are in general, the better your chances are overall. Like strong people are more useful in general and harder to kill, and that's where we try to be.
I mean, I was shocked at some of the percentages there.
Right, like staggering percentages.
Yeah. I mean, I was expecting to see, some kind of like minuscule number, like, just like 4%, somewhere ranging somewhere between 10 and 1%.
Yeah, somewhere between 42 and the lowest was 5%, which is butt cancer, and then lung cancer is 42%, which makes sense because we probably don't smoke much, and we're constantly flushing our lungs full of oxygen. So good news on the fitness front and on the cancer front. Like, be well, take care of yourself. We talked about emotional deposits for your relationships and that kind of stuff. There's also a continuum of sickness and wellness and health, right? And the farther along you are on that side towards health, the more withdrawals you can make before sickness is really a problem. Before sickness will kill you. So just and that we're going to talk to another guy today. We have our first guest today, or one of our first guests today, that's going to talk more about that with his cancer journey too. But we're really excited to have our guests come on later on in the show.
And from a health standpoint, specifically when it is towards multiple myeloma patients, and understanding where you're at from a bone density standpoint, we're instructed not to lift anything over 5 pounds. In a real world, that's not realistic.
That's a bag of sugar. Like, how can you?
I mean, I know some different types of things. Like, my son weighs more than 5 pounds, so I'm definitely going to pick him up. However, it is a real thing to be concerned about. So I highly suggest, trying to stay fit for multiple myeloma patients takes a little bit of a different avenue, or you take a different angle.
Yeah, maybe don't do a lot of heavy deadlifts, right? But
probably not wise to do that at all.
No.
But what you can do is there is some great videos out there on YouTube that have more so calisthenics and using repetition to stay fit. And I call it the lazy man. I won't say that, the lazy man. I just say low impact. Exercising that you can do right at the comforts of in a chair. So I highly suggest that from us. As he would put up those percentages, if multiple myeloma patients want to try to stay fit and active, walking is fantastic. You can power walk. To get your heart rate up.
Get your speed suit on, aero helmet.
Right. So these are some great activities that you can do that we both have tried ourselves or doing ourselves. Once again, we like to emphasize we are not doctors. We are not professionals. Only thing we are professional patients.
Right.
That's what we are. I'm professional. I have a PhD in multiple myeloma.
Yeah, right. Advanced degrees in cancer.
Advanced degrees in cancer, cancer absorbing.
Without giving medical advice, it's generally better to be healthier than not.
Exactly.
So whatever you can do to be healthier, do that. Consistency is more important than anything else.
Do these. Do some crunches. Do some crunches.
Right?
Do these.
Do something. Right? Eat less. Move more.
Move more.
It's not. It ain't rocket surgery, kids.
Yeah, it's a funny video guy out there. He's a one of those muscle bound characters, and That's one of his catchphrases when he's like, "Do these," and it'll make you, when he's showing his different exercise moves.
Yeah.
So I can't really say I came up with that, but it did sound pretty cool when I did it.
Eat Less,
Probably
Move
looked
More
like
is a skit from that old show Mad TV. And they kept trying to convince this lady that like, is this some kind of a joke? This seems wrong. Like,
Right.
Will this cost me
Right,
money?
Right. Well, like I said, we got a great show. We got a guest coming on. So we're gonna go and take a pause for the cause.
Yeah, man.
I want to say happy birthday to hip hop.
Yeah.
It's 50 years old.
50 years old. Even I know that. Look at me. And even I know that.
Wow.
Right?
Wow. You have just advanced the culture, man. by
So
doing that.
far.
I'm just kidding.
So
Anyway, 50th anniversary. Happy birthday, hip hop.
That's
And
almost
we'll
as old
be
as you.
Right back after these commercial breaks. Farfanugan.
Man.
Seems like the chair's moving.
Hey-ya.
Whew, that's some old man shit.
We are back. Thank you so much for those kind words from our sponsor, Bumpin' Ugly's Trampolines.
And our other sponsor is Crimpy Cruster's Cream Bob.
The fine law firm of Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe.
Yes, and lubricants. The side effects that come along with this wonderful world of cancer that we live in. As you notice with most commercials.
And it's all the fast lawyer speak at the end of the commercials.
Right.
Right, that isn't
Are those
endearing.
lawyers? Super
There's
quick.
way more side effects than there is actual symptoms.
If you're looking at the commercial, it's all this wonderful
They're
happy
happy and they got
Yeah.
puppies and
Yeah.
they're smiling.
Yeah. I think we cussed in the show like 3 times.
We did.
But in the background, he's like calls, poops, shit,
Right,
sticks,
yeah, yeah.
runs,
You will
vomiting.
leak out of-
But there's another sicky side effect that, chemo, did you know chemo can affect your sex drive?
Yeah. Hey, welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for our work from our wonderful sponsors. Of course, the wonderful law firm of Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe.
Yes, sir.
They will find a way to take care of you. And also H2Go, dehydrated water on the go.
Yes.
Bring an empty bottle when you get there, add water, and there
Yes.
you go, you got it.
And we'd like to give a really super duper shout out to one of our new sponsors, which is Afro Lean. It's good for ashy ankles, loosening tight bolts, and in a tight pinch, if necessary, a lubricant. So we want to give a shout out to Afro Lean, one of our new sponsors. Give it up.
Thank you so much for helping the show
Thank
go
you,
so
thank you.
smoothly.
Yeah, it does. It's nice and smooth.
So I want to introduce a guy that we know that I met in a weird way. Like, I used to take pictures for a competition called Test Your Metal down in Allentown. It was a CrossFit competition, and I took pictures of Scott. And this is Scott Yurkonis.
Yurkonis, you got it. That is.
See, we thought we was gonna mess it out.
Your
Yurkonis.
Yeah, you
Yurkonis.
could have done that better. That is excellent.
Not my conus, your conus.
But Yurkonis.
Your
There you go.
conus.
Yeah. Awesome.
So Scott, I took pictures of Scott, and then we ended up following each other on Instagram, and I saw that I don't know how I get it, but I saw that he was sick, and I thought, oh boy, how do I know this guy? So I did a little digging, I put 2 and 2 together and found a picture that I was tagged in and reached out to him, and here we are now on the podcast together. So Scott, if you could answer me a couple quick questions first. Best Fran time?
Best friend time. Oh, geez. Could I look on my phone real quick?
No, you got to know it, man. That's the kind of stuff you got to know.
It was like 450 something, maybe.
All right,
don't know.
all right. I had
honestly
408.
don't know. I don't even remember. So it's been a little while since I did
man.
full on CrossFit. So
All right, how about best Grace time?
ooh, that one I honestly don't know.
156.
I have
yeah,
no
that's all right.
idea
So
what the hell you guys are talking
Fran
about.
is awful. It's a workout where you do 21 thrusters with 95 pounds, then 21 pull-ups, and then 15 thrusters and 15 pull-ups and 9 thrusters. Thrusters where you get the bar from your shoulders,
Okay,
you squat all
okay.
the way down, stand
All
up,
right,
all
all
the
right.
way overhead. 21, 15, 9.
I'm getting sore just listening.
I know, right?
feel-
And then the faster you do it, the worse it is. And then Grace is another one where it's a 135-pound barbell. You do 30 clean and jerks, which is from the floor to your shoulders, shoulders overhead, as fast as you can.
Got you.
Those are the only two that I remember off the top
Clean
of my
and
head.
jerk.
How about
and
Murph?
some others.
What's your best Murph time?
Ooh, unweighted or weighted? I
Ooh,
I don't know.
qualifications.
I
Weighted
think
straight
that-
through. How about that?
weighted straight through. I just under an hour probably.
Yeah, it's about right. Yeah, we're about the same there. So
Honestly,
I've done that in like 20 minutes. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't know what you
always
guys are doing.
Always the king of Murph.
Yeah, King of Murph. But
So, sorry, go ahead.
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, so Scott, tell me, we're going to trip all over each other. What kind of cancer did you have?
classical Hodgkin lymphoma.
Okay, so as opposed to like blues Hodgkin lymphoma or jazz Hodgkin lymphoma?
Yeah, this is classical. It's more of a classical type feel.
Not hip hop.
Not hip hop.
Unfortunately, I would have enjoyed that much more. I think.
I think so.
Yeah, absolutely.
I bet there's a lot of things you would have enjoyed a lot more.
I'd have to agree on that.
So before we get too far, how are you now?
Doing very well. So,
Okay.
August the 24th was my last chemo. So
Okay.
I was getting chemotherapy every other week on Thursday. So actually, this Thursday, yesterday, would have been my, chemo if we were still in routine. So it actually feels pretty fantastic to be rolling into a weekend here and
Yeah, man.
Oh my gosh, you do not
Congratulations.
feel
I'm
like
about
you
to
wanna
do. Yeah,
die.
congratulations on that,
brain
man.
scramble. Typically Fridays when it would start to roll in, and you both have gone through it, so you know how it goes.
Yes.
So feeling
So-
pretty good. Feeling
Good.
pretty good.
So how long ago? It was probably close to a year ago that you weren't feeling so good. Is that about right? Maybe a little less?
Yeah, so actually, October last year is when I kind of started to feel a little bit off, and more so because I've been very active now for years, whether it's mountain biking, lifting, CrossFit, running. Last October, I started to feel a little bit fatigued, just working out more so than anything. Nothing changed with how I was eating. If I drank more beers the night before, it was just something like out of nowhere.
That's an experiment you have to do many times
Oh,
to
absolutely.
really get
Yeah,
a good
yeah.
baseline
This is like the limit here, and
for science.
Right.
that's all science purposes.
Of course,
Absolutely. Yeah. So, this time rolling into this time last year was about when I started to feel a little bit off, a little weird.
And when did you feel like, okay, I got to go to the doctor?
Well, so it actually kind of worked out in my favor. In October, started to feel a little bit off. I actually put a 2-week notice in at the job that I was at, and lymph nodes right around that time popped up in my neck. So
Okay.
feeling fatigue. About a week or two later, lymph nodes popped up. I had a 2-week span left at my job and then change in insurance. So
Ooh.
because I'm always in the woods with trail running, mountain biking, I actually have a weird condition called alpha gal from a tick bite that I got back in 2016. So my immediate thought was, shoot, I got bit by a tick here. I got Lyme disease. And went to the doctor, and of course, no Lyme, but my blood work at that time was fine. So it was kind of pushed off. You're young, you're healthy, you're good to go. It's a virus. Come back in a couple weeks.
Right.
And that's what I did. My wife and I, she's from England, her family's from England. So we went to England for 3 weeks in December. And during that time, I felt a little off. My Garmin watch started to tell me I had high resting heart rate, that my heart rate was elevated all the time. And came home first week of January. I tried to mountain bike twice and my heart rate spiked. And that's pretty much when I decided to go back, because typically I'm pretty stubborn about going to the doctor.
I'm curious to ask you. First of all, there's one question I want to ask. When were you diagnosed?
So I was actually diagnosed, I want to say the last week of February.
Of this year?
Yeah, this past year, 2023. Yep.
Okay, wow. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is
This is fresh. Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
this is
yeah,
fresh
really.
out the
Like
fresh
just
out the
finished
oven.
chemo
Yeah,
last
yeah,
week.
fresh out the
Yeah, this
chemo
is fresh
factory.
off the press. Yeah.
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is,
This is
So-
all very raw for you. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sorry. So
Yeah, yeah.
thank you
and-
for being on.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
no problem.
definitely want to say thanks for that. And if you're uncomfortable about speaking about something, please let us know. We're good with it. We will
We
torture
won't
you
care,
later.
but it's good to know.
We'll torture you later, but we're good with it. So you got diagnosed in February, and we've all had that experience, and a lot of our listeners as well. So what was your first thought when they told you that you had your cancer?
Am I allowed to curse on here?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, man, go ahead.
No, honestly, I was like, October, everything started. It wasn't until January my blood work started to get a little bit weird. From November to January, I had increasing back pain. By January, it was like crippling some nights. And, growing up, I beat my body up riding BMX bikes, the mountain bikes, dirt bikes, so I always kind of had back pain. So I just brushed it off initially. But really, when January came, everything hit, my blood work started to get weird, and they mentioned cancer. And I'm like, oh, fuck, right? Here we go.
Right.
And
Right.
they sent me in for a fine needle aspiration. So they stuck 10 needles in, 6 needles this side of my neck, 10 in this side, because one of my lymph nodes
God, I
was...
still hate needles. All the
Yeah,
needles I've
man.
had, I still stick me the heebie-jeebies.
Oh yeah, absolutely. My wife watched it all. Ultrasound.
What?
guided. She's peeking at the screen. I'm like, man, this sucks.
Sounds like a X-Men movie.
Oh yeah,
Stuff sticking out.
But that was, my first thought. We came out of the fine needle aspiration or biopsy, whatever you want to call it, and I was like, fuck, man, this is gonna suck. I just had this weird feeling that it was gonna go this route, and then my next thought was, well, I can't really change it, so fuck it, we're gonna deal with it and put our heads down and get through it one way or another. That's all my thought process this whole time has been. Yeah, this sucks, but there's a lot of things in life that are worse, and a lot of people dealing with some pretty bad stuff that's worse than this. So can't change it. I'm not going to sit and worry about it, cry about it. It obviously mentally it's always there, but I just tried to kind of hammer down and push through it. So,
Man, that's super. I mean, like that's real. That's super inspiring because, like, what you're saying. Like, did you literally at that? I mean, not really a time frame, but at that moment, how did you just immediately switch gears and say, "Hey, man, fuck this. I'm gonna go ahead and mash through." When others sometimes struggle, like, is it something like? Is it based on your background prior to being diagnosed and just something that's in you since you've been little? Because it is different for folks. Some it takes weeks, some it takes months, sometimes it takes years, and to have that immediate, kickback, like, hey, F this, I'm going to do, we're going to make mash through this. What do you think that is accredited to?
honestly, probably a little bit of my dad coming through, just being stubborn and hard-headed. And he went through prostate cancer, melanoma, had back surgery, knee surgery, rotator cuff surgery. So, for me, seeing that as I grew up, his attitude was always like, well, fuck it, I can't do anything about it. Guess what? It's bad news. That's what's in front of me. So I think it's just some of that stubbornness, luckily in this situation, kind of rubbing off on me, and just, not letting something. My mom's very optimistic. So it's kind of a blend of both. It's
Right.
a blend of, well, this is what it is. We can't change it. And then the optimistic part of it, well, let's look on the bright side. Things can kind of be worse. And we're going to focus on what we can do today, change today. And that's all we could do. You know,
Man, stubborn optimism. What a great trait to have.
it's a weird combo.
Yeah, but it's beautiful. It's an amazing thing. Like, what's stubbornly optimistic? That's fantastic. Fantastic. But yeah, like, I wonder if I forgot where I was going with that train of thought. So delete that. Next. I lost it. The dog cut me off again.
I got to ask, what kind of dog do you have laying there?
She's a black dog.
Okay.
That's about as
What
close
the
as we
hell,
can get.
man? What is this? What is going on here, man?
It's the
Like,
color
I'm
of her
right
fur.
here.
It's
I'm
the
right
color of her
here.
fur. She's a they tell us she's a Walker Treehound lab mix, but I don't believe it.
Okay.
Yeah, we got her. She's a quality used dog. You know,
Okay.
so as close as we can get it, she's a black
Did
dog.
you say Walker?
Walker Treehound, not like Walker Texas Ranger. That's a
Okay.
different kind of Walker.
I was wondering a little Chuck Norris there.
No, not Chuck Norris. No.
I was going to say, man, my dog classification skills are like more like your hood slang
Yeah, right.
classification skills.
You're as good at dogs as I'm at hood. So we have no idea what we're talking about.
So you go ahead, Tim.
So what was the next step? Like, all right, you got cancer. All right, this is bad news, but there's nothing I can do about it. I'm going to be stubbornly optimistic. What's next? Like, how long did you have to wait to see the oncologist? Like, what was how long was it between diagnosis and your first treatment?
From diagnosis to first treatment, I was very lucky. So I went through diagnosis through St. Luke's here in Bethlehem, and that was the blood test, the needle biopsies, which were inconclusive. I actually had a CAT scan that my family doctor helped me out with, putting it through a full upper torso CAT scan. And that was kind of what triggered, oh, shoot, this might be cancer, because I had lymph nodes on each side of my diaphragm, a mass in my chest.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, okay, you got to get to the oncologist.
Something is
So yeah, something's a little fishy here. There's
Right.
growing there that
Something's a brewing.
It's not the cat we were looking for.
Yeah, exactly.
So was pretty much pushed right to the oncologist. I think maybe within a week or so of having that CAT scan. At that point, they did the bone marrow biopsy, which was
They're fun, aren't they?
yeah, that was cool. That was cool.
Yeah.
That one off my bucket list.
Yeah, I love them. Just give me 2 more of those
Oh,
a week.
man.
Spice it up, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Another one.
She's the watcher.
She's into
That's what
watching
she is. She's the
stuff. She
watcher.
likes to watch.
She's watcher.
So it's funny because, you're laying there and I'm on this little table. I'm too big for it anyway, squeezed up in a ball and my ass hanging out of my shorts because they're
Yeah.
down,
Yep.
And luckily I had like my toes kind of crisscrossed on this table trying to hold my legs on. So
Okay.
I was more focused because my calf was cramping while I'm laying there than on what's going on with my back. But I'm looking out the window. I'm good. He hits one spot. And I'm like, fuck, man, that hurt. We all
Yeah.
kind of laugh. And so I feel him like twisting and turning. And the night before I looked at like what tools they use.
Oh, don't look at that. No.
Oh, don't do that.
So-
I was going to ask you that because I was told not to look at the drill from
I looked
I guess from the
after.
Flintstones. I mean,
Yeah.
just like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, and you said you were cramping up while they were doing it.
So my calf muscle which was a good thing because it kind of kept my focus
It
off.
distracted you from the huge needle
off the
going
pain,
into your
right?
hip.
I got you.
Exactly. And I
got
feel
you.
like them, moving stuff around, but I'm kind of numb. And then Kylie she's like peeking over and she's like, do you feel that? I'm like, no, I don't feel that.
No.
Tell me about it
No.
after. Like, why? I'm not even thinking about
Yeah,
it.
right.
I don't
No, they
feel
just put a drill bit in my hip. No, I don't feel anything.
Yeah, no, not at all.
When I got
Twisting
mine
and turning
done,
that
like the
freaking
girl
thing.
that did it like had the hardest time because I've been doing CrossFit for 10 years at that point. I had really dense bones, and that needle was not going through.
Really?
No. And I got another one after all my treatment, and I bent the needle. Like they had to get the head of the department in, and the needle bent and it skidded off, like, and hit all the places on your hip that don't have the lidocaine on.
Wow.
It
That
was
sounds
terrible.
dangerous.
It was not good.
That is why now I get it. I was wondering why you had like two left feet when it came to dancing.
No, I've always had that. That had nothing to do with that.
Oh, that had nothing to
No.
do with. Okay, got
That's
you.
much more of a genetic thing.
A genetic disposition than anything.
Predisposition. This is nature versus nurture right happening.
So you get so you're getting treatment, whether doing the bone marrow biopsy on you, and they come back and tell you that that you have a colonial. No, I'm messing with you. What is it again?
No, so
classical.
Classical. It's fancy. It's the
Classical.
Yeah. It's got a wig with powder on it.
Right. The
Frou-frou
piano.
shirts.
You know what I'm saying? All these cancer genetic genes, that's what they have. They have the white wig. They're playing the piano and they're skating down the track. You know, I know cancer's tough, and and I'm sure everybody's been through their different dynamic of it. But also, the thing I do love about speaking to different cancer folks is there's so much more to them, like yourself, Scott. And so we like to try to highlight that aspect of it. So I know, I know you have this classical thing going, and Beethoven, you're giving Beethoven a run for his money. But what do you do outside of that you're passionate about?
So mountain bike right now, ride BMX bicycles. I grew up on two wheels. That was, my hobby. I played baseball till I think 6th grade, and then just wanted to ride my bike, and it kept me out of trouble. It kept me busy, and that's something that I've continued to do. My wife and I love to road trip. So again, her family's from England. So 3 weeks there in December. Normal years, we're up in the Adirondacks in upstate New York, multiple times throughout the summer, hiking, traveling out west, road tripping, to Montana, to Colorado, Utah. So really love the outdoors. Anything I could do to be outside, get outside, is what I'm passionate about. And then obviously family, hanging out with my mom, my dad, Kylie's family, just the normal stuff that we all love.
So you speak about your wife, so we want to go ahead and make sure you give her, make sure you give her some acknowledgement, because that's what we do on this show. We acknowledge our other halves, because if you don't, brother, I'm telling
mad
you,
at you.
you're going to have some problems. So go ahead and acknowledge your wife. And give her a shout out.
Kylie, thank you. You have no idea how you helped me through this whole thing. And she knows it. I mean, she was my, you talk about optimistic number one right there. The days I'd be laying on the couch feeling like shit, she's there. You're doing so good. I'm like, man, you're feeling like shit.
I don't feel like I'm doing great at all.
I don't feel like I'm doing good.
I'm glad you think so.
Right.
Every chemo right next to my side. I had buddies reach out and family, friends reach out. Hey, if you need somebody else to drive here, if Kylie don't want to go, she's busy, just wants a break, we'll take you. She's like, no, I'm going to everyone. Everyone I'm with. So we sat there, we laughed. She watched me sleep,
Yeah.
That's
That's
awesome.
the good stuff. Well, we're going to give her a shout out too, give her some dying laugh and love. And we put sound effects in later. Don't even worry about it.
All kinds of wonderful sound
We'll have
effects.
all that kind of fancy stuff.
So what's the prognosis? What's next? When does your hair come back? When did you lose your hair?
Well,
I mean, I'm assuming you lost it because of the chemo. You weren't always bald.
Yeah, no. I wasn't always this streamlined, this aerodynamic.
Yeah, man. This makes things faster. Boom.
It does. That's just it. I mean, it's
good
quick
on the
now.
bike.
I don't know if I'll ever go back. The shower, bam, face wash right over the top.
Done.
Right.
Yeah.
Had it dry, man, nothing.
Right.
So I guess my next step is October 3rd. I get that PET scan, the one that we all wait for after everything. So I get that. I meet with the doctor the 5th. The 3rd, I also get an ultrasound. I don't know if you guys had the pleasure of experiencing a blood clot during everything, but I did.
Oh no, I didn't have that.
no,
I had a kidney stone, but no blood clot.
No, I have a blood clot.
I didn't. I'd probably rather the blood clot than the kidney
Yeah.
stone, to be
Well,
honest.
I was on so much pain medicine, I didn't feel it.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
I just don't know.
yeah, right.
The only blood clots I know, they're they're Jamaican. So
Okay.
So
I mean, that's
how did the blood clot happen? What was that about?
Yeah, what was that?
I don't know. So again, I was very lucky. So chemo started. So back to everything real quick. We got the bone marrow biopsy that officially didn't diagnose me. Thankfully, it wasn't in my bone marrow, so that was good.
Okay.
We came out of that still scratching our heads. Next step was we need surgery on your neck ASAP to pull one of those lymph nodes out and see what's going on. So at that point in time, I'm very lucky to have met a friend of mine, Kevin Meister, who unfortunately had gone through some other cancer at a young. I'm 36. Kev was 36. He was actually my vice president of sales at the company that I had been at, and he's 40, I think 43. Sorry, Kev, throwing that out there if you listen.
We're all going to steal your identity now. We got it. We got two of the three
His
things.
social number is
Just the last four is enough, really.
Just the last four. That's all we need.
yeah, we're good. We're
We
good.
can go from there.
If you have your birth certificate, that'd be pretty handy too.
Yeah, here, you guys want to see it?
Yeah, it's great.
But he had unfortunately gone through a bunch of this stuff before I had met him, and he's very open about it, similar to me, because you guys as well. You never know who's going to hear you or bump into you and maybe go through the same stuff or know somebody going through it. So as soon as the cancer word came up, I called Kevin and I'm like, hey, what the heck would you do? And he's like, Sloan Kettering is who I attribute to getting me through what I went through. We're going to get you introduced there. And what was awesome about Sloan is as I was going through the diagnostic part of testing, they were taking all of my results and looking at them as they came in, pre-cancer, pre-me being a patient. So when they ripped the lymph node out, that result came back. I called Sloan, let them know it was in my chart. They pulled it up that same day, called me to schedule an appointment for the next week, which was like 3 days later. It was like a Wednesday or Thursday. They got me in Tuesday.
Wow.
And it was, boom, I got the port put in and I got some other stuff done. And like the next week it was sitting in a freaking chemo chair.
Wow. That's crazy. It was like instantaneous.
Which was lucky.
Yeah,
Right.
seriously. Like we both had played the hurry up and wait game.
Yeah.
You need to see the oncologist as soon as possible, and that's a month.
Right.
It's crazy.
What am I going to do till then? I'm going to worry.
Yeah, right. I'll just stick around.
I'll just hang out. It's fine.
Yeah, I'll just hang out with this cancer.
Yeah.
No, don't mind me. I'll just
I'll
be
find
right
a
over
place
here.
to stick this thumb.
I'll
Don't
be
you?
right
I'll
over
be all
here
right.
with my cancer progressing. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah.
So, the whole cancer journey is always, I'm always like my mind goes at 1,000 miles per second. So bear with me. This cancer journey is not easy, but in no shape, form, or fashion, and we tend to always focus on the physical, because that seems to be always like the first thing in our face. We don't feel well, whatever the case may be. But I just, before we close out the show, I just like to ask from a mental health standpoint. Number one, how were you when you got diagnosed, and how were you mentally, and how that's transitioned along this journey, and if it's been great, good, bad, or indifferent, who helped you along that journey?
Yeah. So again, very lucky just to have the outlook on things that I have. For me, it was never, question of what's going to happen here. It was just kind of head down, push through whatever it was. To thank again my wife, Kylie, my mom and dad, Kylie's family from overseas, my friends, my family, outside of my parents that had reached out, everybody just being motivational and just checked in.
Right.
And even, people from far that I bumped into here or there that would reach out and just say, hey, how are you? My mental health, luckily, was pretty good through the whole thing. And I just found things once chemo started. My main focus, once I started to feel better, was working. I continued to work full time, which kept me busy, and then being active. So whether that was going out for a walk initially, maybe walk a mile, 2 miles, 5 miles, and then that transitioned to, again, riding my bike, lifting weights, things that I could kind of control and that I enjoyed, spending time just hanging out with my dog on the couch, just the little things that you could focus on that are the good things in life that you enjoy. Not, trying to, obviously it's always in the back of your head, like, hey, we have this shit, it's not going away. But if you can focus outside of that in any way and look at the positives that are still there, that's, what's really helped me through it. And I think probably both of you would vouch for that's a huge factor in,
oh, heck yeah,
absolutely,
in just not only getting through it, but just dealing with it. Because you could, for me, it'd be very easy to sit here, and I'm sure with both of you, to sit and think what's going on. You wake up one day, look in the mirror, and your eyebrows are gone, and you're like, oh, crap, I got cancer. Or I see, my port when I'm getting out of the shower, and I'm like, oh, shit, I got cancer still,
Right.
But if you don't focus on that every day or every minute of every day and understand, hey, I got this, but we're going to live in the moment today. I think that for me helped a lot.
That's awesome.
Man, that's awesome, man.
We talked about that a bit last time. Just like finding the good stuff. Like there's always good things. You're even in the middle of a storm of shit. There's still going to be some good stuff.
Yep.
And the more you can focus on that, the better things are going to be in general.
This is crazy because this is a great segue into our last segment.
Isn't it, though?
I hope you're right. It's crazy. We didn't even plan this. So, Scott, we have our last segment of the show. If he can do it in sync with me this time.
Spoiler alert, I cannot.
But our last segment is Any Last Words.
That was
Any
terrible.
last words. That was terrible.
That was
Don't
bad.
worry about it.
It didn't seem that bad, actually.
We can fix that in post.
Yeah, we can fix it in post. But yeah, any last words? And you guys Scott, you were transitioned to it beautifully, and so did Tim. This is part of the show where we kind of have our last word of kind of something encouraging, inspiring, or maybe not. Maybe you could say, hey, I hate cancer and I want to hurt somebody. Whatever it is.
That's okay too. Yeah, like they don't have to be mutually exclusive. Like you can have something amazingly uplifting and say, and also I just want to kick somebody in the face.
Right. Which I think would be an interesting twist to Any Last Words.
Right.
But
specific names.
Specific names. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna let Tim go, and we'd like you to close out the show with any last words, if you didn't mind.
No, that works for me. That's perfect.
Cool.
Awesome. See, I like this crowd participation. But yeah, so my any last words is, I'm gonna just keep it very short. Please, wherever you are in your life, please understand that your peace is priceless. You don't want or let anyone interfere with your peace. And once you get to that space, you'll understand there's a really good feeling that you can deal with whatever life brings at you, whatever that may be. So I know we always use the word encourage. I highly suggest you treat yourself and do some self-care and be guarded about your peace and who you let in your circle and who you give your energy to.
Awesome. I want to talk about the difference between cows and buffaloes.
And that's a very, oh my God, I've been struggling with this for the last decade. Please go on.
So cows weigh 3,000 pounds and people eat them. And buffaloes weigh about the same and nobody fucks with them.
Wow.
That's the difference. That's the biggest difference. The other difference is that what happens when bad weather comes is the cows turn around and try to run away from the storm.
Okay.
And it doesn't matter. The storm is too big. It's going to catch them anyway. All they do is prolong how long they're staying in the storm. Buffalo put their head down and walk into it. Right?
That's true.
We're going to face the same storm one way or the other. Put your head down and go through it. You'll be at the other side faster.
I know that's right. I love it.
I love it.
I love it. Take us home, Scotty.
Hey,
And this is
so-
not Scotty.
Scotty
like
Mycanis.
This ain't Scotty Pippen. This isn't Beat Me Up, Scotty. And none of that.
It could be
Scotty
whatever you
Uranus.
guys want. No worries there. I'm open. It's all good. Just kind of playing off what both of you said. It's we all run into bad days, whether it's this stuff that we run into, and hopefully it's not. To people listening, hopefully there's some out there that aren't dealing with this and never have to. Hopefully we took it for the team, for our family, friends, loved ones. That's what I've been saying. But my main thing that I would remind everybody, because we all run into bad days, is they're temporary, right? So some last longer than others. Some are shittier than others. But at the end of a bad day, there's typically a good day. So again, with me through this, that was one thing I always tried to keep in mind was, Saturday sucks. This Saturday sucks because I had chemo Thursday and I feel like shit. But I know Sunday's going to be better. Monday's even better. Tuesday's excellent, So just remember that there's always bad days, but every bad day ends at some point in time.
And you have survived every single one of your bad days so far.
I know that's
Every
right.
one of them. You've
Every
beaten
last
it.
one. Because
Yes.
we're still here talking about it.
And the people that haven't aren't listening.
Well, Scott, we want to thank you for coming on the Dying Life and podcast. Let me try
Yeah,
this.
man,
Scott
really appreciate it.
Yurkonis. Did I get it right? No.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
Yes.
I know. Don't play with your boy. Don't play with me.
Spot on
Nailed
right
it.
there.
All right. Listen.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you
I really
for
appreciate it.
coming. Thank you for being open, and we appreciate it. And as we always, almost did it, but you
Yeah,
almost
I was waiting to
did
ring
it.
the bell.
I was about to ring the bell. We're gonna go out and we say, "Sayonara."
And I don't know if we always say that, but
We don't, but I gotta sing my song.
Adios,
Don't you
amigos.
worry, be happy.
bum, bum,
Boom,
bum,
boom, boom,
dum, dum,
boom,
dum.
boom. Here's a little song I wrote.
I like it.
You
Oh
might
my gosh.
think it note for note. Don't worry.
The show's gone. 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 The show's gone.